Good morning and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you so much. All of the new subscribers, all of the loyal subscribers that have been here with me from the very beginning. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you subscribing and definitely hit the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. Okay. If you would like to support the channel, you can definitely support the channel via Cash App or you can hit the um, super thanks button. Okay. Today I want to talk about how Memphis has is completely lost it. And I'm just talking about the demonic force that is on Memphis as it relates to the crimes that are being committed. And I'm very spiritual. Okay. I'm very spiritual. And so I understand that it is definitely a spiritual warfare, especially I think about, especially with what has happened to Dolph, young Dolph. When young Dolph was assassinated last November, it was a horrible thing, right? Um, it was a spirit. Let me just say this. It was a spirit walking around before that. I think that it is three times worse now because what it did was it brought a lot of attention to Memphis, which is good for Dolph to, bringing attention helps to get situations, especially as it relates to crime, to get the authorities to move. Okay, when you start screaming on every rooftop and getting people behind you, and a lot of people start watching stuff. I worked for the police department for almost 18 years. I know that is what moves them. Okay, I ain't talking about no bullshit, no conspiracy bullshit. I'm talking about as far as violations and crime. Okay, and when that happened, the fortunate part was it made the people know that they had to do what was necessary, which I believe was going to happen anyways, but it made them be consistent with it. But it also brought a lot of eyes that does not necessarily mean Memphis in the goods. So I talk about how a lot of people like to hijack Memphis. Right now Memphis is kind of on the radar, and so it brings a lot of devils look to hijack. So you have to think about the energies when people are looking and lurking when they're making their money directly off of Memphis. Oh, okay. I wonder what's going on in Memphis today because Memphis is hot. I hope it be some crime, some juicy crime. That's the energy that is being put into the atmosphere so I can report on it. And it's the truth. And I'm not not everybody, but a whole lot of people, right? So you have to think about that's the reason why I say we definitely have to stay prayed up. When somebody was saying, well, you talk about Memphis, motherfucker, I pay taxes in Memphis because I got businesses in Memphis. Okay. But I think it's a shame the negative force, the evil force, it was already an evil force walking around because people just don't love and pray like they used to. Because a lot of them are on drugs and things of that nature. They on drugs and they disgusted and there's a lot of mental illness because these medications that these parents, this Ritalin and stuff, it was already engineered that their parents have put them on trying to get a check when they was younger, messed up their brain. And then when they get off of one medicine, they start medicating themselves as they get older and they mama can't get the check no more. They just start medicating themselves with all of these horrible drugs. They wanted to make sure, and I'm gonna get into my subject, but I just kind of feel a preach coming on. The crack epidemic started messing up the black families. When I love to go on YouTube and start looking at documentaries that they did back in the late 60s and the 70s. And the reason I love that is because you start looking at documentaries where people was talking. I look at it almost every other day. I love looking at Watts Stacks. A guy I used to date, his dad he played drums for the Bar Cave and for in there on there. If you look at that, that was his dad playing drums. I think they did that in 1973. Um, yeah, Watt Stacks was in 1973, and but even a lot of those people came from the ghetto, but their dictation was different. I'm talking about as far as how they speak. They still spoke the English language. Their pronunciations, even though they was in the ghetto and they lived in the ghetto, they still spoke differently. Even though they might have had a southern drawl or something like that, southern drawl, even though LA, Wastas is in California, their accent is different, but still, even in the South, even with the southern drawl, the pronunciations was different. People cared about how they talked. Okay. But I love looking at movies from the 70s because documentaries, especially because you had the opportunity when they was doing documentaries in the ghetto and things of that nature. People still, even though they might have been broke, busted, and disgusted, they still had a drive. People still loved each other. They still cared about each other. People talk about how the Mexicans stick together, the Hispanics and things of that nature stick together because they get it from their ancestors in Africa. Y'all didn't know, did you? That most Hispanics are just Africans that didn't want to be, that was mixed with a little something else that was dropped off on another island that just really didn't want to be black. So they got that togetherness from Africa, from their home, with their ancestors' homeland, which is how we're supposed to be. But we're so Americanized, we pathetic. Black people sick at this point. Anytime you hack somebody's phone, you a sick, twisted motherfucker, and they being dealt with as we speak. I ain't just talking. They think I am, but I ain't. You ought to be, you really ought to be. I almost said dead, but I won't be that low down and say you need to be in a fucking straitjacket because you a sick, twisted bitch. So Memphis has a lot of attention on it, and it's not necessarily good attention because there was already a demonic force when they released these drugs in the neighborhood. Ritalin is something that is some kind of like horse tranquilizer. I never thought that people would be using Ritalin, but hell, meth ain't no damn better. Black folks didn't use meth. When I worked at the police department, I don't mean no harm. I just gotta go there, and I'm gonna get into my subject. Whoever don't like it, you already know what you don't get me started. Okay. They used to know they used to know a serial killer. They used to know how to racially profile. They would bring the FBI in and say, okay, based on what they did, I know if they look here now, this is what they used to do. Okay. Well, if they did this, it was a more than likely a male black. He's probably 30 to 40 years old. If they killed their mom and them, it was, his whole family. He was more than likely a male white, 20 to 25 to 35. I'm telling you, that's what they used to do. These motherfuckers all on the same drug. They all sick. Okay? You can't tell nothing. You just have to hunt their asses down if somebody don't kill them and put them in jail. But that's what drugs did. And it leads me to my subject because, see, I'm starting getting to something else. But I was going to say, I love looking at the togetherness of the Black people when people was really proud to be Black back in the 70s. They didn't know how to get to the resources. And now that more resources are made readily available and Black people are, can find out about the resources. Hell, they didn't put drugs in the neighborhood where they too damn cracked out to even care about getting to the resources. They just want to kill somebody to get a quick fix. Okay. So when they drop crack off in the 80s in the Black communities, okay, People, it messed up the Black family. It did. It really messed up the Black family. But around the late 90s, you start in 2000s, you started seeing people wanting to recuperate and go into drug rehabs, and they was able, a lot of people was able, you don't even really hear people talk about crack no more. They sitting up talking about crack is whack. Hell, I'm a bet I's a meth head. They look down on you if you on crack. They talking about, I do's the real stuff, I do's the meth. Okay. And pills. So they made, I said that to say this, they made drugs and stuff more stronger, even more stronger, this Ritalin, horse tranquilizer and shit like that, to make sure that there is no recuperation. Because look at heroin. Black people didn't do heroin. When back in the early 2000s, late 90s, when I heard that a lot, like BG and them down in New Orleans was hooked on heroin, I was shocked. Black people didn't do no damn heroin. It was not a Black person's drug. I'm just kicking some facts, god damn it. It's the truth. And I don't want to see white, Black, Indian, nobody on it. But I'm just telling you. So now what they've done is they've dropped these heroin pills and stuff off. You know, you can't really even get off of heroin. When you do, you go to a rehab to get off of it. You have to take a pill, some type of medicine for the rest of your life. They're making these drugs. It ain't even about, they just making money off of, especially Black people, just off of our, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're just making money off of our, you know, I would say disgrace, but I'll say our pain off of hurting us. That's what's going on. You didn't see crack addicts act like that. You have to hide your purse and sleep with your wallet in your panties when you went to sleep at night. Because they was going to steal everything, but they mostly hurt themselves. Now they've made these drugs to make sure they screw your brain up. Okay. But anyways, I know I went too far on that because I did 12 minutes. But when I start talking about my community, I be talking about you motherfuckers like a goddamn dog. But I loves my community because I want to see us do better. That's the reason why I talk about you like that, because it pisses me off. Because we got to do better. Okay. And that's why I always say we can't get mad at other communities. The white mains did this. How about this? We have codependent personalities. I'm tired of Black people having codependent personalities. I just be wanting to get high. Go read your Bible. If you love yourself, get high off of the love that you have for yourself. A lot of people talking about how love, and I know we're supposed to change love energies, and they fixed it where, you know, we're supposed to reciprocate energies as it relates to love, but people don't love people no more. They love things. And and it ain't no energy, because things can't love you back, and it ain't no love energy being reciprocated. And that's why people are barbaric. We are spiritual entities and energy. But let's get on to this crazy, stupid bastard right here, okay? Now this was in Memphis. Start their shifts. Hold on. Customer. That's so sad. And that's what I'm talking about. And it's the aggravated R word, which means if it was aggravated, that means he beat her. He beat her. And y'all, that's why I take so seriously about these dudes that hack my phone, that is insisting on hacking my network. Where I was telling the investigator that even called me this morning, he's very concerned. They're sick. And that's why I say I'm going all the way. You have to be careful, especially when people have a history of predatory behavior. It's not even normal to want to stalk and hack somebody the way that these dudes have been doing me. It's not normal. Like the investigator said, he feels like they're trying to build it up to murder. And that's why they're going to Georgia, Chicago, and to Dallas. Because I'm not the only woman that they've been doing this to. Okay? And a lot of people are so sick. You look at, okay, this person. Okay? And The first thing, people are so mentally sick now. The first thing they'll say is, well, he didn't have no business. People just don't, they snitch. Well, what about the girl? Well, they likes to snitch now. You have to let the police do their job, so you got more loyalty to that sick freak, and you probably got daughters and sisters and nieces and cousins. That's how twisted people are. But I'm so glad that somebody turned him in. It was somebody around that knew he was a sick freak because he beat that girl and then R her, the R word her. That's why I say Memphis has gone crazy. I remember a time, especially when I first started working for the police department, you didn't hardly see no young men, especially because they could get some tail, you know, assaulting no women, especially R in them. Y'all know them, the R word them. They didn't do that. But now, if somebody was telling me about a case that happened. This guy had this, and that's the reason why when that guy came and put my alarm system in, when I got ready, he said, try your passcode. I said, turn your back. Okay. He was a cool guy, a little younger guy, but he didn't need to know my password because, see, I don't want to have to send nobody's son. And he probably wasn't going to do nothing. I just wanted to be sure he didn't see it. But somebody was telling me about a case where this guy, his 86-year-old mother, was living by herself in the Memphis area. And he decided, because of how bad it was getting, that he was going to put an alarm system in the South Memphis area, around the Parkway area. He had them to come and put an alarm system in her house. And it hurts me because I used to walk the streets. We used to have fun around Parkway when I was growing up at my cousin's house. And the guys, these alarm companies, a lot of alarm companies popping up, and they don't want to pay nobody no money. So they teach anybody how to work their system. And the dudes that the alarm company had working for them, black guy and a white guy that installed the system, went back and broke into the lady's house. And y'all know RAPED, the old lady, the 86-year-old lady. And the officer was telling me with what they did to her, how they assaulted her. Jesus, we need the firing squad. They sodomized her. They R her. They did all kinds of heinous stuff to her. And then when the police catch them, I'm not saying they did anything to them, but it have been times when they whooped their asses cat regular. You had a community talking about, well, the police is wrong. We got to do something about them police. I think I tell the story of when I first started working for the police department. And I'll never forget, you had officers crying and everything. And they whooped his ass. They whooped him raggedy. They should have put him to sleep. Girl didn't know nothing about the baby daddy. I mean, nothing about the boyfriend. Baby, 6 months old. Wasn't even move the boy in the house. He wasn't the baby daddy. Okay. And she went to work, let him keep the baby. And he penetrates the 6-month-old, rips her apart, then went to Walmart, got needle and thread because he had tore that 6-month-old up and tried to sew her back up. The police whooped his ass until they couldn't whoop it. And don't you know, you had motherfuckers in the community, his family and stuff, talking about people, they friends and stuff, talking about the police assist was wrong. Okay, well, what about the baby? Well, yeah, I hate that happened to the baby. Man, I want to blame the girl. The girl needs to be blamed, but that nigga should have been put to sleep. The problem is people don't like to take responsibility for what they do. They want to blame the police. When the police, if they, I really wish they could have put him to sleep permanently. Ain't nobody like that got no business living. But we be so fixated on the wrong stuff. Okay? We be so fixated on the wrong thing. That is ridiculous. We don't want to hold people responsible for what they do. Now, these girls just went to work and he decides he wants to rob the Walgreens and see a nice little cute girl and decides he wants to violate her, kind of like what these niggas doing to me. And this is what the police is scared of and the FBI as it relates to me. And that's why I say we have to be careful who we support. Y'all support these niggas and they sick. We gotta stop doing it. Okay? Now, I don't know how much time he gonna get, but he need to get life. But instead, what we do is it's so many. I've never thought the day that I would see women are so jealous of each other to this pathetic. They'll look at me, she thinks she's something. I want them to violate her. Them police is wrong because the feds involved and to get them some federal time for hacking her. Everybody be hacked. Why I was violated my whole life, how come it's wrong for her to be violated? That's how women think. I don't want nobody to be violated. If something happened to me, I don't want it to happen to you. It ain't right. But unfortunately, so many people are damaged. So many people are miserable. They get gratification out of seeing other people miserable. Okay? And it's sad on so many levels. But I'm glad they caught him. Whoever turned him in, it was probably people right around him because he a sick mother sucker. They turn him in. And that's why I say Memphis got to pray. I see a lot of Memphians. And it just ain't no togetherness with the Memphians. And I know people say, well, you choose this with the Dolph case, you motherfucking right. If it had been the other way around, I feel the same way. Ain't nobody got no business taking no father out just because they mad at him. What's y'all's damn problems? I don't straddle the fence when it comes to right and wrong. I'm going to stand on the side of what's right and kiss my ass if you don't like it. That's the problem. It's so many people that don't choose what's right. They likes the straddle the fence. So many people straddle the fence, they got all kinds of splendors up their ass because they sit on the fence all the time. It ain't no righteous people no more. And when you find somebody that's righteous, that's why the motherfuckers trying to, they fucked up when they hacked that network though. And they done caught them. And all me and my mama could say was, thank you, Jesus, because I'm not the only one that they did it to. But they're going to get them. And that's why I say we have to get back to prayer. I fasted because I said, God, I'm tired. But see, it ain't no righteous people no more. It ain't no righteous people. They want to blame everybody for what other folks do wrong. This nigga ain't got no business getting out no more. He done ruined this girl's life. Folks like him, we need the firing squad for. So y'all, Memphis is gone crazy. And I know a lot of Memphians look at my stuff because a lot of them look at my TV show. But we got to get back to God in prayer. Even if you don't like somebody, you ain't got to stick together with nobody. Just respect them and go on with your life. I'm telling you, when you go on with your life and don't be messing with other people, don't try to make other people try to make other people miserable, you will stop being miserable. Your life will change. A lot of people don't even understand that. You so damn miserable because you spend your time thinking of how you can make somebody else miserable because you feel like they too happy. You can't stop what God has for somebody else. You pathetic. Okay? You pathetic. But anyways, you guys, I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to cut this short, but I'm glad that that lady that he was got. Now he need to get 50 years. Okay? He needs to get 50 years. And see that instead of killing each other, the men are supposed to be protecting the women and the children. They supposed to be, instead of killing somebody like Dolph because they jealous of him, they need to be handling somebody like him, because you get more women to stand behind you if you got rid of shit like that. And I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just saying, we don't respect you when you take out a boss because you're jealous, and we respect you when we know you're cleaning up the streets to protect the women and the children. That's the reason why a lot of women don't respect these, but they base heads though. That's why I say when they inserted drugs in our communities, folks on heroin, on meth, they base heads. They crackheads. At this point, I put a crackhead above all these heroin and meth heads because they barbaric. At least with a crack addict, you just sleep with you just know to hide your money. Put your money in your panties when you go to sleep if you got to be with him. Okay? And lay on your stomach. But the stuff that these people are doing now is just, plain barbaric. Okay, so I'm glad that somebody was good enough, turn him in. That's the way that it's supposed to be, y'all. I worked for Crime Stoppers for many years, so I know that Crime Stoppers work, because I was one of the ones that used to go over to the precinct, undisclosed location. Normally it was an OCU, that's organized crime, has always been an unmarked building. They in several motherfucking houses and hoods, so you wouldn't know where OCU at. Okay, but that's where we would go and do payouts, and it works. You get your money. Okay, $800, $700. One time, the lady who turned in that Mickey Wright situation, which we really felt, hey, she got 20. They counted out 25 grand to her in cash. So when a lot of people talking about how they get that money, when they confiscate a lot of these drug dealers' money, they use it for Crime Stoppers. I'm telling you, that's what they do. It's the property of the state at that point. They can't take it, so they use it. Crime Stoppers. They pay out the people that turn you in. Okay. So they got a plenty of money over there. Make sure you dial Crime Stoppers and get some of these people off the street. If you know somebody that's got warrants, outstanding warrants, if you call Crime Stoppers, especially when I was working over there, I made sure people got paid. I would tell them keep up with your tip number and all of that. I just made sure that they did. And if you know somebody's got a warrant, you call Crime Stoppers, and you don't have to call now. Call Crime Stoppers, get a tip number, let them know you know where the person is, and you know they'll go get them, then call them back and say, was there arrest made? They'll say, yes, there was arrest made. There was an arrest made. Okay. And they'll tell you when to pick your money up, what location, what organized crime house, what trap house they're gonna be at, the organized crime be set up in, and you come there and get your money and you go on. Okay. That's how it works. Or they might, or to the building. Sometimes one of the coax, when they had coax, sometimes it was. Okay, but it was at different locations. So Crime Stoppers works, you guys. So, crime don't pay for the criminals, but crime do pay for the citizens that want the criminals off the street, especially if you know what they did. 528 cash. And if you don't, they're not going to ask you for your name or anything like that. They simply identify you via tip number. Okay. I'm telling you, that's how they do it. All right. But anyways, you guys, I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe. I want you guys to know that I truly do love you. Okay. And I'll talk with you later.